We have parametric equations here, x equals 3 sine of t and y equals 2 cosine of t. And we want to sketch the curve by just plotting some points. So let's start plugging in some values of t. We'll start with our negative pi. And let's go ahead and do a little table here. So we'll do so our t, and then x, and y. So we'll do negative pi, and we'll just plug that in. So sine of negative pi is 0, so we get x equals 0. Cosine of negative pi is negative 1, so we get negative 2. Let's do our midpoint 0. That's sine of 0 is 0, so again we get 0. Cosine of 0 is 1, so we get y equals 2. Go to our end, that's pi, we get x equals, sine of pi is again 0, so we get x equals 0. And y equals, cosine of pi is negative 1, so we get y equals negative 2. Let's pick the midpoints of these. Let's do pi over 2, negative pi over 2, and pi over 2. Sine of negative pi over 2 is negative 1, so x is negative 3. Cosine of negative pi over 2 is 0, so we get y equals 0. Here, for pi over 2, sine of pi over 2 is 1, so x is 3. Cosine of pi over 2 is 0, so y is 0. All right, let's just do the midpoints between here, and that should be enough for us. So we'll do negative 3 pi over 4. Sine of negative 3 pi over 4 is negative root 2 over 2 times 3 is negative 3 root 2 over 2. And then cosine of negative 3 pi over 4 is also negative root 2 over 2. So multiplied by 2, it's just negative root 2. Let's do here negative pi over 4. Sine of negative pi over 4 is again negative root 2 over 2, so we get the same value there, negative 3 root 2 over 2. Cosine of negative pi over 4 is positive root 2 over 2, so we get a positive root 2 there. If we plug in pi over 4, sine of pi over 4 is root 2 over 2, so 3 root 2 over 2. Cosine of pi over 4 is also root 2 over 2, so multiply that by 2, we get root 2. And here we'll do 3 pi over 4. And sine of 3 pi over 4 is root 2 over 2, so we get 3 root 2 over 2. And cosine of 3 pi over 4 is negative root 2 over 2. Multiplying by 2 is negative root 2. All right, there's a lot there. Let's go ahead and see if we can plot these. So it looks like the, well, clearly the biggest x will ever be is 3. And the smallest is negative 3. And the biggest cosine y can be is 2, since cosine can get up to 1 and down to negative 1, down to negative 2. And we've got these points. So we start out at 0, negative 2. So we start out right here. Okay, then as we start moving, we have a negative 3 root 2 over 2 and negative root 2. So now we're down here in the third quadrant. Square root of 2 is about 1.4. So, about 1.4. And then we've got 3 halves of that. So maybe something over over here. In fact, let's be a little bit better there. So about 1.4 divided by 2 is about 0.7. Multiplied by 3 is 2.1. So it looks like it's actually about right. Right there. We end up at negative 3, 0. So we've gone from here to here to here. This next point, we've got the same x value, and then our y value is just the positive. So up at positive 1.4. Okay, let's keep that over that. And then we move to this point 0, 2. We're up to there. So we've gone from there to there to there, all through those points. Then we're at 3 root 2 over 2 root 2. So that's just the positive of that. That's over here. And same y value, so right around there. And we end up at 3, 0. That's right there. And then same x value, 3 root 2 over 2, and then negative root 2. That puts us down here. And then we end up back at 0, negative 2. So we start here, and it looks like we're just traveling there through that ellipse. Let's go ahead and see if we can fit an ellipse to that. Maybe, oh yeah, something like that. Just match that point. And of course, indicate with an arrow the direction we started there, and we were moving here clockwise.